So I think this part has been out for a while now, but Seal Project put out a piston for the Hi-Capa, and I found out about it pretty recently, and I figured I'd go ahead and try it. So I've taken my Kappa apart, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to test it, chrono it, see how it compares to. I've already taken it apart, obviously, but this is the piston from my Edge V2. This CL Project piston is compatible with the Edge V2, so you don't have to worry about that. If you have the CL Project, I'm sorry, if you have an Edge V2, this is a drop-in replacement for the stock Edge V2 piston. And they also make just the piston head. If you have a stock TM unit, blowback unit, you can. This has an X-Speed head on there, but if you have one of these, you can buy just this upper part of the piston, which replaces where the next speed is at right now. I am gonna also do a chrono test with this, just to kind of show some of the options that I have on hand. But I've used it before, and this has been sitting in a box for a year and a half, 2 years maybe, and there's a reason for that, which I'm sure I'll get on video to show you. I'm not gonna test the stock Tokyo Marui piston head just because I think most people who are interested in anything like this already know how the stock one performs or just outright don't care how it performs. So I'm not going to worry about that. I'm just going to do all the aftermarket parts. So a couple things with this. This groove for the CL project is much bigger than what comes on the Edge V2 piston. So you can't just take this O-ring off and throw it on here. It's not going to work. It's going to be too thin. And this O-ring is unique in design. It's not a standard O-ring. As you can see, it's not rounded all the way. There's a flat on both sides. And then on the inside, and I don't know if this is going to be something that I can really show, but it's grooved on the inside. Let me turn on the flash, see if that works. So it's not rounded the way you would expect an O-ring to be, as you can see, like this one, right? It's fully rounded all the way through, whereas this one is not. I'm assuming the thought process behind that is that this shape would probably catch the air better and help it to expand a lot better. So we'll test that, and see if it really is more consistent than the other options that I have sitting here. And in this particular pistol, actually all three of my pistols, every single one of them, this one, blue and purple, I've range tested them all out, and I have verified hits up to 230 feet with each one of them. Now, I haven't verified the accuracy at 230 feet. The target was very big, but we did hit it. Just a disclaimer. But anything within 150 to 180 feet, I should be able to hit pretty accurately and pretty consistently with these. So now I'm at the point where it's just chasing FPS consistency. And I do that mostly by obviously messing with the BBU setup. The nozzle, you can't really change much. Sure, there's different ones. I don't know what this one is. I think it's a stock TM nozzle. But I also have an Edge nozzle floating about. I believe it's in my purple Kappa. I've tried AIP nozzles, those broke on me. I've tried the LA Kappa turbo nozzle, that broke on me. Would not recommend. They literally broke in less than 10 shots. So I would not use an LA Kappa nozzle if you paid me to. Now they did say that they've updated their nozzle material or build quality, but they left a really bad taste in my mouth because I spent $60 on three nozzles and all three of them broke within 10 to 20 shots. So that's my take on LA Kappa nozzles. If anyone's had a different experience, by all means share it. By all means share it with us. But I'm staying away from them for now. The only nozzle I haven't yet tested that I really want to test is the Guns Modify nozzle. And the only reason I haven't tested that is because it's really hard to get here in the US. But the stock TM nozzle has been pretty beefy, sturdy, reliable, hasn't let me down. I mean, I have broken the loading arm on a couple of them, but that's part of owning a Kappa, is like certain breakages are expected, right? With enough use anyways. So I'm not too concerned about breaking loading arms. the standard TM nozzle has been very good to me, so that's pretty much what I keep using in most of my stuff. And then the only other thing then obviously becomes the blowback unit. I have checked the diameter of the TM nozzle with calipers, and it was like 13.5, something like that. So any O-ring that puts you around that 13.5 diameter should work really well. Now for the CL project, I picked up these 9 by 2.5 O-rings off of Amazon, and I've already tested these, so I know how they're going to perform, but I'll do the chrono on video so you can see the results that I've been seeing as well. So just because the piston is new, that does not mean that I expected it out of the box to be perfect and unable to be improved. And that's why I picked up these O-rings. So I'm going to go ahead and do all the testing and show those results. And then if you have any questions after that, feel free to ask them in the comments, and I will do my best to reply to anyone who comments. Stock blowback unit with the next speed piston head. So this has actually been an experience of mine with the next speed. Quite often you can all right, it's not obvious. So what has happened before when I've tried it is that the O-ring that sits inside of the groove on the next speed slips out of its groove. So I don't know if that's what happened here. I'm gonna open it up and check here in a little bit, but that's usually been what causes the malfunction, like what you just saw. So me personally, I would say stay away from the next speed piston head and even the PTS Mac. The PTS Mac is a very similar style, and I do remember I tried one a while ago. It was so long ago I don't remember exactly what it did, but I didn't keep it in my pistol, and there's a reason for that, which means that it failed me enough for me not to be confident in its ability to function at a game. I'm taking the slide apart now with the stock BBU and the next speed, just to see, and I just, to show it on camera so nobody thinks that I'm manipulating the outcomes as I swap between parts. But we'll see here what caused the problem. Oh, it's stuck. Oh, damn. So I'm not seeing what the problem was, but there was obviously some kind of physical jam given how hard it was to pull these apart. It shouldn't be like that. They should come off pretty easily. So this is my actual BBU that I use in this pistol, and it has zero problems sliding on and off. Obviously, if you've built Kappas before, you know this, so I don't know what specifically caused that here just now. But again, from my experience, from what I've seen before, what probably happened is that this O-ring here slips out, and it ends up sitting on the groove like this down here. Let's see if I can get it. Alright, well, I can't pull it off, but it ends up sitting here on this groove, and because the groove doesn't have space for the O-ring to sit into, it obviously increases the diameter of the piston, making it really hard for the nozzle to move. And I've experienced this multiple times with this type of O-ring that has the ports in it, so that the O-ring can expand. So I personally stay away from this type, whether it's, again, like I said, the next speed or the PTS Mac revolver piston head. I don't use this type. So I don't have a lot of air, so hopefully I can make it through 3 rounds of this, where I'll do the CL project with the stock nozzle, or I'm sorry, the stock O-ring, CL project with its aftermarket O-ring, and then the V2 with the O-ring setup that I use. Got a little under 500 PSI, and I'm shooting at around 80 PSI. So full disclosure, I had already done pretty much all of this testing before I started. And as I was going through this, the results were terrible. Like nothing lined up with what I expected from previous testing, because I have tested these parts in all 3 of my Kappas, and I have a general idea of what should work the best. And I noticed that my nozzle was broken. So I don't know if this is going to affect what I've seen before, but just to be sure, I'm putting in a new nozzle and I'm redoing everything, and hopefully the HPA holds up, because as I said earlier, I'm really low on air. So hopefully I can make it through a string of 10 shots, which each different setup, to get a general idea. And hopefully if this is the cause of what I was seeing, then the results should go back to what I have seen before and should be more accurate. Okay, so I guess I just have to shoot slower in order to get it to work well. Again, this is the Edge V2 with the Edge V2 piston and the thick O-ring. So you can see here, this is usually what I expect. It's extremely consistent, even on green gas, which again, that's what I'm shooting it on. So based on the fact that this has now improved, I'm assuming that broken nozzle was causing issues, because this is exactly what I expect out of this pistol in this configuration. Same setup with the Edge V2, full Edge V2. I'm just doing the HPA part now instead of switching pistons and O-rings and whatnot and then doing gas, HPA, HPA. I'm going to do gas, HPA, gas, HPA, gas, HPA. Let's see here. Okay, I got a jam, so let me clear this and then I'll restart. Okay, jam has been cleared, chrono has been reset. Let's try this again.
You taught me that. No, I've never heard that phrase, but it's fine. Continue.
And again, with the Edge V2, the standard Edge V2 piston, and the thick O-ring, this is exactly what I expect out of my build. Very consistent. Alright, CL Project piston with the aftermarket piston head. If I remember correctly, piston O-ring. The size of the O-ring is a 9 by 2.5. With 9 being the outer diameter and 2.5 being the cross section. You know what? You're right. I thought I was happy, but 79, 81, 82, 81, 78, 75. Okay. This lines up pretty well with what I have seen before with the CL Project piston and the aftermarket piston head. So I'm going to clear this and then I'm going to do HPA. HPA, and I did forget to show this earlier, but I've left the regulator at around 80 PSI. So everything is being done at this same PSI.
Ask you something? What if I get this job? What then? What if
Lines up with what I expect. Pretty consistent, not as consistent as the standard V2 piston head and O-ring combination that I use. So I'm gonna switch it out. I'm gonna switch out the O-ring in this for the stock CL Project piston O-ring, which from my previous testing was the worst by far. So let's see if it's still doing that. Okay. What I expected, what I've seen before. Greatest deviation. Sure, a lot of the rounds are pretty close. A lot of they're relatively consistent, right? But what I've seen is that the faster you shoot, the greater this deviation changes. HPA, again, nothing's untouched, or everything's untouched, still at 80 psi. Let's do this. This is the CL Project piston with the stock CL piston head, or piston O-ring.
Did you remove your shirt?
Are you kidding?
Suddenly this guy's acting like a real amateur.
So really good, actually, much better than the other times that I've tried this. I'm impressed, I'm not gonna lie. So if I had to be completely honest, if you're running straight green gas, I would stick to the Edge V2 piston and get that aftermarket thicker O-ring for better seal. But if you're going HPA, I mean, the CL Project is a very viable option on HPA. I'm not seeing any reason not to recommend it. Me personally, because I don't play on HPA, obviously I have the stuff to play with it, but for personal reasons, I choose not to play with HPA pistol. So I exclusively play my pistols and my MWSs only on green gas. I don't HPA them. So me personally, I would stick with the Edge V2 setup with the aftermarket O-ring if you want that solid consistency on green gas. If you're on HPA, honestly, any option is viable. And CL Project's piston, it's like 35 bucks, I think, something like that. But it's not really necessary. So I guess at that point, then it's very dependent on whether or not you really want to do it. As I've already shown in the video, right, the AM piston, the AM Edge V2 is extremely consistent, and getting that aftermarket O-ring will be way cheaper than getting ACL Project piston head. So, or piston. I keep saying piston head. The O-ring is going to be cheaper than the CL Project piston. So if you're looking for that consistency and you already have an Edge V2, just get the O-ring and replace it. It's the 2.5 millimeters. No, it's 2.2 cross section by 9 millimeter outer diameter or inner diameter. It's in the video somewhere. But that O-ring will get you extreme consistency like what you've seen here. I have tried this in all three of my Kappas, so I'm pretty confident in saying that you should be able to replicate this pretty easily with your build, regardless of what's in it. And I say that because while all of my Kappas are using the same Edge V2 blowback unit, they all have different barrels, different buckings. They do have the same hop unit, but the frame internals, this is a standard TM spec frame internal, so like your hammer, your sear, your disconnector, all that stuff is stock, or I'm sorry, standard TM. But my other two Kappas are advanced frame. So there are differences between my Kappas, and they all perform exactly like I've seen with this gray pistol. when I swapped out those pistons with the CL Project piston. So I'm pretty confident in saying that anyone who uses the parts that I just showed should get very similar results to what I've shown here. So it's just a personal matter of personal preferences, whether you opt to spend the extra money or not. Now, if you're running a standard Tokyo Marui blowback unit, CL Project does make just the piston head that you can replace the cup with on the stock TM BBU, which is why I keep saying piston head, is because I know that they make those. So if you're not using an Edge V2 and you want to increase the consistency on your stock TM, you can do that by buying the CL Project piston head and replacing the TM piston head with that. And while I haven't tested that, I would imagine that you would get very similar results to this.